Greetings and salutations, Second Star right, back with some more Rage Shadow Legends, and today we're talking about the Banshee. Not the frozen Banshee, this is the kicking it old school, original Gangsta Banshee. Yes, the frozen Banshee came out with the Battle Pass and she's amazing, but there's a veritable panoply of guides for the frozen Banshee already, so we probably need not go over that well-trodden ground, and instead we'll focus on her. She's Undead Hordes. She is a rare support, and she is pretty amazing for what she can do. As you can see, she has 3 skills, but I have only skilled up 2 of them, and the 3rd skill is Ascended. It opens up with a 3rd Ascension. I chose not to ascend this on purpose, and the reasons will be clear in a moment. So let's go right into it. Let's get over her skills and see what this support does. Okay, so the Banshee has a Grave Chill is her A1, attacks all enemies, has a 20% chance of placing a 30% decreased defense buff for 1 turn. So already great to have an AoE A1. It is great to have a decreased defense. The 20% chance is pretty low. The 30% chance is the low version of decreased defense, rather than the 60%, which is the good version. But this is a rare, and this is on A1, so that is pretty decent. Having an AoE decreased defense on an A1 on a rare is pretty amazing. Additionally, with just 4 rare books, you can get that percent of placing chance up to 30%, which I think is pretty manageable. And of course, you can further improve that with Masteries if you wanted to do that, if you were so inclined. Okay, Cursed Touch is the A2. Attacks all enemies, so another AoE. AoE in her A2 as well as her A1. Has a 50% chance of removing 1 random buff from each target. Okay, so we have AoE defense down and AoE buff removal. So if you're going through your dungeons and you come into some of those irritating champions, like Crimson Helm is a big one for me. I can't stand Crimson Helm. What with the block damage and the unkillables, you can take that off. It's random, so you have to be lucky, but you can do it. Horden is increasing his attack and doing all the stuff Horden does. You can get one of those off. Apothecary speeding everybody up. Get rid of that too. Very, very useful AoE buff removal on the A2. That's fantastic. So you see we have 2 AoE skills, A1 and A2. Now going on to Death Ray. Death Ray is a bit different. Death Ray attacks 2 times at random. Each attack has a 50% chance of placing a block cooldown skills debuff for 1 turn. Hey, I like blocked cooldown skills. It's a nice skill. However, it doesn't really fit well with the other skills. I don't think it has. It's not an AoE, so it attacks 2 times at random, right? And it's just a 50% chance of block 2 cooldown skills. It's not a 4-turn cooldown that you have to book to get down to 3 turns. I just thought the champion would have more utility just using her A1 and her A2. Just the 2 AoE attacks. That's it. So I eschewed the A3. Chose not to ascend it. Now the downside is she doesn't take advantage of the bling, right? So no necklace, no amulet for this champion. So she's a bit squishy. She does need some support. You need to pay attention to her gear to make her a little bit more survivable than you might have to on a support. But ultimately, this worked for me. I think it's worth it. Your mileage, of course, may vary. She does have a 52% arena resist aura as well, if that's something you wanted to take her into the arena with. If you do take her into the arena, which I never did when I used this champion. I used a different one. This isn't the one I used. I actually fed the other one. So this is a new one that I built just for this video. You might want to use Death Ray in arena, maybe, right? Because you're probably doing it manually, and maybe there are some times when you want block cooldown skills in arena, because it's a pretty powerful debuff in that regard. Masteries, I only took her up to tier 2. Right, just to get some accuracy bonus, a little bit of the crit rate, crit damage. If you're going to take her down to tier 5, I would do so. The sniper is really good in this champion when you have her in the stun runes, which of course I do, which we'll go over in a second. Adding that additional 5% in the stun runes brings up to 23%, which is better than, of course, the 18. So in the stun set, which I have her on, and it probably, having an AoE, A1, and A2, stun set is probably the best way to go for this champion. There are some other things that I could see considering as well, but I think if you're considering this champion not like a big DPSer, you're going to see her as crowd control. This just adds a whole nother dimension. She has defense down, now she has buff removal, and now she has stuns. Really, really excellent, multi-purpose Swiss Army knife champion for your roster. So let's see how she functions, shall we? Oh, let's look at her stats first. The only thing I really cared about was accuracy. Again, just thinking of her as a debuffer, accuracy was my primary concern. Although she does have a little bit of crit rate and crit damage there. So when she is AoEing and maximizing that DPS as much as you can while still keeping her, alive, is a positive thing. As you get through and you get better gear, you can make her really good. I've seen some videos of her at 6 stars, taking on the level 20 dungeons and doing just fine. But you do have to have perfect gear, and I'm more thinking about her as trying to get you that good gear. You're just, you're free to play, you're new to raid, whatever. You're just coming up the ranks. She works really good in those dungeons, as I will show you in a second. So we'll go into Ice Golems first, because that is one that I always enjoyed going through. Now, interestingly, she uses her A2 first. There she goes. Now, she lands a lot of stuns, which is awesome. But her AI decides to use the A2 first, which is the buff removal one. And if it's going first, you're not really removing any buffs. So it's an odd decision on Playerman's part, but that's certainly not the first time we've seen that happen. And here she goes. She's decreasing defense. She got a stun in. Let's see here. I think she's going to remove debuffs next. And look at that. She cleared the Terror Beast one, and she cleared off Raider, so she got rid of their reflect damages. So, every little bit helps, right, as you're going through. This is Ice Golems 13. This is, I don't want to belabor the point, but Ice Golems 13, the first level where you get the 6-star gear. This is where you want to be farming when you're just coming up. And she does good here. She has this, like I said, she has the stun set on, and she can stun the minions with that stun set. The defense down also works, of course, and unfortunately the buff removal is useless at this stage because in this dungeon they don't buff each other. So she's going through. You kind of have the idea of what she does here. She's going to do some stuns there. She landed a stun on the minion, and that's just going to go through. And let's go to the end, shall we? Okay, so here's how it all turned out. Lord Chamfort did 331. Gorgrab did his thing. He actually had to resurrect Banshee at least once. Hexweaver brought some heals. Chevalier did something of everything, as Chevalier does, because Chevalier is fantastic. But Banshee, look, 340,000 damage. So, while she might not have been killing a lot of mobs, she did her part in adding some damage so that other people can kill the mobs, right? That's kind of what AoE champions tend to do outside of Skullcrown, right? They're just there to assist, and she does a really good job in that regard. And again, where else is she good? She's also good at spiders, obviously. There's spiderlings everywhere. And she does a good job here, too. She landed her attack. She got some defenses down, right? She got a stun in. This run doesn't really showcase how good she can be. She does okay here. As you can see, she's in trouble, poison-wise. She's not built for this dungeon. Like I said, I just kind of built this version of Banshee just to show an example of what she can do. So she's not optimized. If you want to take her in spiders, she definitely wants to have a bigger hit point pool to make her not so much of a target. Targeting in this game is a bit weird. A lot of it is based on how many hit points you have in affinities. I have no opposite affinities, so that's not going to be a problem here. But she does have a low pool. She only has 22,000 hit points at this point. So the spiderlings and the spider are going to focus on her and Cold Heart, depending on who has the least amount of health. That's just the way it goes. But it's okay because we have Apothecary as a bodyguard. Right. I also ran this with Hexweaver, but this was the run I liked best of the ones I did, and I didn't want to keep doing it forever until I had something perfect. So this is what we got, and she's doing fine. She's doing fine. Banshee is doing a good job. She's bringing the defense down. She's bringing some stuns. What more can you ask for? We're increasing the survivability, increasing our damage output. There, she landed a nice group of stuns there. That's super, right? That probably kept Coldheart alive, right? And you don't think about, stage by stage, how you're doing, but that probably saved the run right there, just landing those stuns. So again, it's random. You never know what's going to happen, but Apothecary should come in and save the day. There we go. So we're good, and Coldheart eventually be able to get off enemy max hit point damage attack, get a nice damage down on the spider. She's got a defense break right now. Actually, the spider himself has Lord Chamfort's up, which is good. He has the higher version of defense down, and of course that will overwrite the lower one, so that's kind of cool. We're good. We will win this fight. I wanted to wait till Coldheart did her move because it's so satisfying. Even though she's level 50, and this is not a stacked cold heart, this is kind of a random cold heart. I'm bringing her up so I can have another cold heart at level 60 to get through some of the stuff a bit quicker. And I don't have a royal guard, so I'm going to do two cold hearts. Oh, come on. I need the satisfaction of the big damage hit before I click away. Oh, let's go. Banshee, what are you doing? Hey, thank you. There's some decreased attacks. And there we go. Nice decreased turn meter. Huge hit from Cold Heart. We do win this fight, and let's go to the end and see what happens. Okay, so Lord Chamfort did his thing. He also has a nice speed break in this too. It's a little bit improved from the old version of Lord Chamfort. So Lord Chamfort's actually not bad in this dungeon, bringing the hit point boost to everybody and a speed break and defense down. Lord Chamfort's not so bad in this dungeon if you were having some problems. You can think about it. Fellhound is, of course, he's built for spiders. He's my regular spider tank. He did fantastic. Banshee 752, right? And look over in the end, you see Cold Heart 767. She's right there. Granted, her damage is all coming from AoEs mostly, and Cold Heart is coming from, you know, her big hitter. But, you know, you see the synergy between the two. They're all playing their part. And we got through the dungeon. And Spiders 10 is an important dungeon to get through. That's the Spiders version of Ice Golems 13, right? Where you can get your first good gear in Spiders 10. Non 3-star gear, right? It's 4 and 5 stars in Spiders 10, and Spiders 10 is just a hard tuned dungeon. So, you know, you have to aim your sights a little bit lower than you would on Dragon and Ice Golems and Fire Knight. Speaking of which, Banshee is really good in any dungeon that has minions, right? So Ice Golem, Spiders, all the potion keeps. She's really good to have on your team. Not so much in Dragon. She does do good in Dragon because Dragon has very high defense, and she has that defense break on her A1, which is nice, but it doesn't bring a whole lot of damage to the table once you get to the boss. Really good getting through the waves, not so good on the boss. Same with Fire Knight. Really good getting through the waves. Some of the Fire Knight waves can be kind of tricky, but once you get to the Fire Knight, Banshee is not going to help you a whole lot, right? She does have the defense down, but that's it. Not going to do a whole lot of good on the Fire Knight. Maybe you can dispel a debuff here and there, but that's about it. I would recommend, you know, just sticking with the dungeons with minions. That's where she truly shines. All right, but again, your mileage may vary. If you have a different experience, you know, let me know down in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, if you find this helpful, please give me a like. And if you want to see more like this, please subscribe. I would certainly appreciate it. I really enjoy doing this content, and I really hope that you guys check this out and you like it, and tell your friends, what have you. I don't know. I'm enjoying myself, and I hope you enjoy it too. And I will see you guys next time. All right, take care. Thank you so much. Stay safe. I'm out.